Hi friends, welcome back to Dust Not Included. My name's Roy, and today I'm at the Goodwill in Warwick, Rhode Island. Items I find today will either be listed on my eBay, a link to that is in the description below, or you can find them at upcoming live sales, which I have every Thursday at 6:30. This is the first Goodwill they opened up in Rhode Island. Since then, they've opened 2 new stores, and I haven't been to this one in a while. Let's get in and see what they have. Well, the first end cap was a little lackluster. I moved into the figurine section, which is typically my favorite. The first thing I noticed was this glass eagle. They were asking $9.99 for it. Then I spotted this marionette. She was made in Czechoslovakia and she is hand painted. I just think she's adorable. She's called the Farmer's Wife. A little further down on the shelf, I thought this dog pulling a sled of kids was kind of cute. It was a made in China piece, and it is porcelain. They were asking $7.99 for it. On the top shelf here, I spotted this lady in this blue dress. I didn't see any maker on the bottom, although I thought she was really pretty. They were asking $14.99 for her. Well, look at this piece. It is made in Japan. They were asking $9.99 for it. It is kind of cute. On the bottom shelf here, they had these vintage doll clothes. They had them in little sets. Each one was $10 each. I don't know, the prices were a little high today. I headed down the Christmas aisle. Most of the items were contemporary, so I didn't pick any Christmas up today. Leave a comment below. Did I miss something that you liked? Well, it was time to check out the frame aisle. And boy, their shelves were packed. On the top, I noticed this piece. It is a wood frame with a plaster inset. It's definitely an older piece and quite beautiful. I decided I had to pick it up and put it in my cart. Well, the end caps were pretty disappointing in this store. At the very bottom here, I noticed this piece of art glass. It's a basket and it has this wonderful, like, leopard pattern in the center. Well, when this was the only Goodwill in town, it used to have all the good items, but lately I've been finding a lot of items at the other 2 Goodwills that they just opened. Well, on the vase shelf, there was this piece. I think it was contemporary. It was a green crackle. I'm not quite sure what it was for. Maybe a bud vase. And this here, I thought it was going to be a Wheaton bottle. I think it was a reproduction, however, because it wasn't labeled Wheaton. They were asking $4.99 for it. Well, this piece is out of place. It is a glass candlewick divided dish. They were asking $2.99 for it. There were a couple of interesting pieces here, like the napkin holder and these little wooden bowls. And on the bottom shelf, they had this lacquered tray, but it looked like it had some wear. On this top shelf, they had an olive oil container. It was stainless steel and they were asking $4.99 for it. Looking through the glasses, I found these dessert cups. They are divided and they are early American pressed glass. They had 3 of them. A quick search, I saw some solds for $20. On this end cap was this precariously placed Italian hand-painted mug. It had a dragon motif on it. I decided to check that out as well, and look at this. Definitely put this in the cart. Well, I decided to head to the back of the store where the furniture was, and on the floor I saw this bowl. It was a stoneware pottery bowl. They were asking $4.49 for it, and it happened to be signed on the back. I didn't know much about this piece, so I decided this had to get looked up too. And it turns out to be Hanselman Studio Pottery. Well, I took my finds up to the front and decided to check out the cases while I was there. Stay tuned because I'm going to go down the street to Savers next. In the cases, they had all of this beautiful Fenton silvercrest. However, the prices were quite high. They were asking $14.99 for the pedestaled compo and $11.99 each for those candlesticks. There was also this great little crackle piece on top. They were asking $14.99. Well, I just left the Goodwill and now I'm down the street at Savers. Let's get in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Well, like usual, I started off with the figurines. This piece was interesting. It was a giraffe carved out of wood, but I think his little horns at the top were broken. They were asking $7.99 for it. They were also asking $7.99 for this planter. Look at the clowns! This guy didn't have a price tag, but his friend on the side was $5.99. So I can assume they were going to be $5.99 each. This here is a bank. It's a Faltzcraft bank, and it's a rabbit with florals. They were asking $14.99 for it. Unfortunately, the comps weren't even that high. Then I spotted this donkey carved out of wood. I liked him too, but they were asking $5.99. I think the gun got stuck on that number. Well, this caught my eye. It is a stone fish. However, his fin was chipped. On the bottom shelf here, I noticed this glass paperweight. Look at all of those bubbles in there. It was quite beautiful. They were asking $4.99 for it. Well, time to check out the candle aisle. I never like to skip any aisle because you never know what you're gonna find. I spotted this here. It's a Fenton cigarette lighter. It's missing the inset for the cigarette lighter. However, I think it could be repurposed as a candle holder. This here is a Costa Boda Snowball votive holder. It's meant to look like ice. Look at this. I love it. This is a turkey planter, and it's got all of this fabulous fall leaves and nuts inside. I think it's got some great colors to it too, and no chips. On the bottom shelf here, I spotted this mallard planter for $4.49. I thought this vase here was quite interesting. It had 2 cherubs on it and a bunch of little applied flowers. They were asking $6.49 for it, although it also had a second tag on it and a Goodwill sticker. Looks like this thing's been around for a while. I checked out the flowers and they appeared to be in good shape. What do you guys think? I think it's a pretty vase. Time to head down the dishware aisle. On the end here, I liked these stoneware divided plates. They had a red and blue stripe. I thought they were very patriotic. They were asking $9 for all of them. However, they didn't look like they were in great shape. Some of the paint was missing, unfortunately. Right next to it, they had this Syracuse China stoneware with this really pretty floral pattern in green. They were selling 4 for $19.99 and 2 for $4.99. It looks like individually they're only selling for around $5 online. Well, I took a quick run through the metal aisle and then checked out the other side, which was the wood aisle. This here caught my eye. I thought it was a mask at first, but then I turned it and thought it might have been some sort of animal. I don't know, which way do you guys think it went? This little music box was really nice. I loved the wood. They were asking $5.99 for it. Unfortunately, it looks like someone wound it too hard because it didn't work anymore. Then I spotted this little left-in St. Patrick's Day girl. Isn't she cute? I can't resist her. This here, I remember when I was a kid, Pinocchio was my favorite movie. They were asking $7.89 for this glass. I remember having it. Online, they weren't selling too much more than that. On the bottom shelf here, they had these heart plates. These are new. They were asking $9.99 for a set of 4, and it looks like they were just at Home Goods on clearance for $2 each. I loved these little Pillsbury Doughboy shakers. However, when I took a closer look, they weren't a matching set. They were from 2 different sets. They were asking $9.99 as a set. However, they did not go together. They're definitely from different years. Well, I thought this piece was really nice. It is a Mexican pottery pitcher and bowl. They were asking $29.99 for the set. It had all of these birds in black, white, and gold, and it looks like it's from Cozumel, Mexico. Well, I thought this clear glass decanter was really nice. I loved its simple lines. I also thought this handled tray was really pretty. It had lots of detail and it had this beautiful etching. They were asking $8.99 for it. They had some beautiful etched clear pieces today. Look at this square cake stand. They were asking $9.99 for it. Well, I thought this was interesting. I always see the corn plates, but never the large platter. They were asking $12.99 for the set of 6 corn plates with the platter. Well, it looks like someone hand painted this bowl. It was missing some of its red coal paint. And a little further down, I thought this bear who was fishing was just adorable. It was a contemporary piece, but I thought it was cute for $7.99. On this end cap here, on the very bottom, I noticed this blue baking dish. This here is by Lennox. They were asking $9.99 for it. This one had a lot of scratches on it, but this provincial garden is quite popular and collectible. You can also find me over on District on both Vamp and Knickknack marketplaces. If you use the code DUSTNO80, you can get $5 off your first purchase on District. Well, before checking out, I noticed this. Look, it's a corn stool. Not everybody can say they have one of these. This week I'll be live on Jen's channel. That's Janine's. This Thursday at 6:30. I hope to see you there. Well, that's 2 stores in one day. I'm tired. I'll see you guys on the next one.